Hi, this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
The Adventures of Batman.
Welcoming you to the new adventures of Batman.
Welcome to Batmanimation, a Batman on Film podcast. Batman-on-film.com. Don't forget the dashes. Just ask Pete Vera. Bad things could happen to you. Like I said, this is a Batman on Film podcast. It's been a while, Javi. How are you, sir? Since we've done a Batmanimation.
Yeah. Episode 74 was back during Bat Fam. We never finished that. I think we got to you and I did episode 3, and that was the last Batmanimation because we've been doing chapter by chapters and social hours.
It kind of got off the rails. And frankly, there wasn't a large following for the Bat Fam podcast. So I don't know if is that representative of how people felt about the series. Sometimes that's relative, Perhaps go back and do a one-off podcast just to finish the rest of the series. But we are sticking with animated Batman television because Batman Caped Crusader Season 2 has dropped. All episodes are there. I am merely Bill Ramey, the founder of Batman on Film. Javi, of course, everybody knows Javi, senior BF contributor. I'm going to watch these maybe more than one a week, maybe every 4 to 5 days, and then kind of spread out these podcasts and do them one episode at a time to give them a proper discussion. How are you going about? What have you binged them? Are you binging? What's your plan?
The Friday they dropped, I watched the first 2 episodes, and that's been it so far because I've been busy with other things, and I'll probably do like 2 tomorrow, maybe if I have time in the morning. If not, I'll catch 2 on Tuesday and just kind of slow roll it.
Before we get going on season 2, episode 1, what was your overall thoughts about the inaugural season of Batman Caped Crusader?
Overall, I really liked it. I mean, there's definite similarities to, the prior Bruce Timm series, both in terms of animation and style, just, a little bit more mature. But more often than not, I really liked it. There was a couple, I mean, not every episode is, as strong as other ones. I think the supernatural ones, while they didn't bother me, I can understand why they would for other people, because it kind of takes a little bit of a left turn when you're dealing with like Gentleman Ghost and things like that, or Nocturna. And it looks like from the trailer at the end of episode 1 for this, there's going to be at least one more episode where we get into the more fantastical side of the DCU. But I really liked it. I mean, I watched each episode a couple times because, well, we were doing the show, but even if it wasn't for the show, I, was watching them with my son in addition to watching them on my own. So they've gotten several repeat viewings from me already, and it was a nice little thing to tide me over while I wait for Matt Reeves to do his magic in the live action realm. So
which currently filming the Batman Part 2 as we speak. Just to mention that, not to get off on, this is not a social hour, so I'm not going to get off on a tangent, but I find it's been relatively quiet. I know there's been some stuff that's popped up online, but I haven't inadvertently saw anything, and they're just filming away. So,
well, I mean, they had to take at least a little bit of or at least when Pattinson was concerned, like they had to let him go off and do his Odyssey press screenings. But I haven't seen any set pics of Scarlett Johansson as Mrs. Freeze yet, or
no, there's been some stuff, but it's mainly been what they're doing on location, and I mean that's going to happen. I mean when you go and film on location in this day and age, you expect it. So they take precautions, and I'm not seeking it out. So, and you're not going to find it on Batman on Film. So don't worry about that. All
But
right, let's go
ScarJo's
back.
Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze, right? Because it's
Mr.
shot during the
Freeze.
snow time.
No,
That's Scarlett Johansson's Mr. Freeze.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's
Yeah,
December, so it's got to be in the snow. So that means Mr. Freeze is coming. So we'll figure it out.
exactly.
We'll figure it out when we get there. All right, back to Cape Crusader. So my overall thoughts of season 1, I'd give it, I don't know how you want to grade it, 4 out of 5 stars. B plus, A minus, somewhere in there. It's right up my alley overall. I wasn't a huge fan of the Gentleman Ghost episode. I don't think it's a poor episode. It was just kind of jarring, kind of going from like street level detective to, a ghost.
Yeah.
And the Nocturna, one that you mentioned already.
But do you think those
yeah.
those episodes are more palatable in this format as opposed to like
Yeah.
if the Batman
Yes.
Part 3 had Gentleman Ghost and he was
yeah, I would go, what? Yes.
yeah.
I've said many times, people ask, like, you have this very set belief on how the live action films work best and what you enjoy, but Batman, The Brave and the Bold is your favorite animated series, and there's other stuff that you like is not as grounded as the Nolan, the Dark Knight trilogy, and
Yeah.
obviously what Matt Reeves is doing. I said I can compartmentalize, and based on genre, sometimes it's a little bit more, it's more giving in a way. Does that make sense? So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, B plus, A minus for season 1. I am only one episode in season 2, and let's talk about it. Season 1, or season 2, excuse me. Season 2, episode 1, Brute Force. I like the title cards are back.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a nice touch.
I like
Even
them
with like the little
and
Roman numeral date at the bottom.
yeah, yes, I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
Very
Like
old
Hollywood,
school.
California,
Yeah,
MC, whatever.
yeah. It has the current date
Yeah.
of 2026 in Roman numerals. Because I wanted to look and see, are they kind of doing an Easter egg and kind of giving us what year this is set in? But no, it is this year, and it's a weird. It's clearly set in the 1939-ish to the 40s, but there's television, and television didn't become prominent until the mid to late 50s, and so there's a bit of we had television, but it wasn't as widespread until at least the 50s, early that decade. It was a new medium, and not everybody can have a television.
A Batman historian.
Mm-hmm.
In the Joker's first appearance in Batman #1, was he making those threats on the radio or on the television or on both?
Radio.
It was radio only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Case of the Chemical Syndicate. Or no, sorry. Because there is radio in that. In the Joker and the Joker Returns in Batman #1. Yeah, he announces it on the radio.
Was a radio? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, of course, that has been used. That was adapted for in The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger's Joker, talked to Gotham via TV, or he would do videos and release them to the news. And looks like we're going to see some of this in this season of Cape Crusader, but we get too far ahead of ourselves. Spoiler alert: as you should know, the Joker is in this season. This version of the Joker, and which was teased at the end of season 1. All right, Brute Force was written by Tyrone Finch and Bryce Aboud, directed by Christina Soto. EPs, of course, are Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, James Tucker, friend of Batman on Film, actually, and Jeffrey Thorne. So, Javi,
Bill,
let's discuss. It starts off we have that cold opening where we have an episode. Speaking of television, Hattie's Tea Party, Hattie
Oh boy.
Tesh, uh, kind of gossip gertie.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the like back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. They had those gossip queens who wrote in newspapers and magazines in Hollywood. Hedda Hopper, I believe, is one of the more famous ones. So this is kind of a take on that, but not as it's more about like Gotham social. I'm assuming
Yeah.
social circles, or what's going on in Gotham society. She is known as the Mad Hatter of news, uh, and she has an agenda against the Gotham City Police Department, Gordon, and the Batman. And clearly, my interpretation, and I'll throw this out to you, she's shilling for Rupert Thorne.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and kind of building him up as this great uh, pillar
A
of
citizen
Gotham
who's being
citizen.
maligned by,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the police department, who's corrupt and ineffective. And yeah, the
So,
second that she
yeah.
started talking, and it's got that talk show vibe to it. Like it's just
Uh-huh.
her, there are no other guests. But the first thing that popped in my head was gossip. This is like a 1940s gossip Gertie,
Yeah.
except presumably she's going to be the Mad Hatter at some point.
Yes. Um, what did you think of them going this route with the Mad Hatter character?
Just kind of like the Penguin. Like I don't mind it. Um, because I kind of look at this as like an Elseworlds type of story where it's mixing in some Reeves-ish elements with some Tim elements, and a dash of Frank Miller's Year One. So it makes sense to like kind of tweak it a little bit and give her something, or give the Hatter something different to do. Um, and like we haven't seen any, stereotypical hat tricks or gadgets or anything like that. But I feel like with this show, based on season one, like it's an evolution, you know,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
like Reeves is the Batman. Like he's not, he may be fully formed as the Batman, kind of. He's been doing it for 2 years, but like his Bruce Wayne persona is non-existent. And it's like a growth that he has throughout the movie. And I kind of feel that's what we're seeing here with these characters, is it's not them fully formed, because I know there are some complaints about the Riddler. Um, but I have a feeling it's something that we
Hmm.
might get to as the season goes on.
I was going to bring that up next. By the way, I'll throw out this before we get to the Riddler. Um, Lots of elements of, I would say, Batman characters, Golden Age characters
Hmm.
that we see here are from the comics. Mad Hatter clearly is going to be, or Hattie Tesh, or the Mad Hatter of news, whatever you want to call her. She is going to be a reoccurring character in this series throughout. Actually voiced by the great Lorraine Newman from the original Saturday Night Live cast. By the way, but we also see Hugo Strange. Um, we have a Monster Man,
Yep.
Hugo Strange, and the Monster Man, a Monster Man, not men, and of course the Joker.
Well,
So
we have a chauffeur.
a chauffeur, but the effects of the Joker and Joker
Yeah.
Venom is uh comes out at the end as the tease for the next episode. Kind of. I haven't watched the next episode yet, so I don't know if we get any more, but there's more of it in this one, so we'll get to that in a second. Later. Eddie Nigma, gangster, um, right hand man. It seems kind of of Rupert Thorne.
Yeah. Working for Thorne, which was,
Yeah.
that was interesting. He's got like his own little, gang, but they're
Yeah.
all, really working for Thorne instead.
Yeah.
He's more
Yeah.
like a lieutenant in the organization than
Yeah.
having his own thing.
Yes. He's clearly under Thorne. I've watched tons of mob shows. Uh, not well, I've watched The Sopranos, things like that, but I'm talking about documentaries on like the mafia
Yeah.
and back in the day and whatnot. This character, his depiction so far reminds me of a New York mobster by the name of Joey Gallo. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Of that person? It reminded me of him in a way. I don't know why, but I don't know if they're going for that, but I even wrote that in my notes. I said he's a gangster. Is he based on Joey Gallo? Question mark. So it kind of gave me that vibe. Haven't seen any riddles, nothing other than he's got green and purple
Yeah.
on, but nothing really that this reeks of traditional Riddler yet. So I guess we're gonna have to wait to be determined where this goes, right?
Yeah, I know there were a couple people who seemed to be a little up in arms that we lost the clue master element of the Riddler.
Yeah,
Like he's not, laying riddles and specific traps. But the when this episode ended, there was like a teaser of what's to come for the rest of the season.
yeah,
And there
yeah,
was
yeah,
a quick scene where there was like bullet holes in the form of a question mark.
yeah,
So that's why I was kind of like, I'm good to wait and see, how this evolves. Because it seems like they're taking that stereotypical approach of transitioning from organized crime to the freaks, taking over Gotham and having their day. So I'm wondering if,
yeah.
the Riddler's transition or Enigma's transition is a part of that, going from gangster to something a little more flamboyant, I guess. Although he's um he's a little more subdued, and maybe it's just because I've been watching a lot of Batman 66, but I got some Frank Gorshin vibes. Like he's not as
There was
over
a
the top,
yeah, yeah.
but the way that he was like yelling at his men and kind of monologuing, like that's very Frank Gorshin, I felt
Well,
like.
there's a cackling laugh with him as well. I see what you're saying here. He's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
He's a loose cannon. I think that's maybe where I get the Joey Gallo influence because he was known as Crazy Joey Gallo, because he was
Hmm.
just loose cannon deluxe. And so there's that aspect. So he's throughout this episode.
Yeah.
Almost quote unquote the main villain, but of course Rupert Thorne is the overall main villain. But in a nutshell, the plot is uh, Rupert Thorne's accountant, Julian Gregory, also known as the Calendar Man, by the way, is being transported to Gotham to testify against Rupert Thorne, who is in prison or in jail. He's wherever, but it's a nice jail because he's got the guards waiting on him. He's got like a fully
Yeah.
furnished
His nice
luxury apartment.
recliner and
Yeah, yeah.
TV on demand when he destroys one like the Joker
So we've
in
we've got
89.
that going on, and then we also have um going to Batman. It is about Batman. Batman looking for allies, turning to Barbara Gordon, and in turn, Barbara Gordon is pushing him to go to her dad, who is, of
Yeah.
course, James Gordon, the police commissioner. Batman is a little apprehensive, feeling that she can do things that he can't do. You know, what thoughts about those plots? The whole the calendar man going to testify, the accountant going to testify against Thorne, and of course, um, Barbara pushing Batman to ally with her father.
Well, I think the Calendar Man, who's a reinvention as well. Like no one is like
Yes.
one for one their comic counterparts, but like you can see familiar elements. Um, and it depending on your version of Calendar Man, whether it's in that crazy suit with all the calendar pages or the months tattooed around his head like Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he still has like this fascination with dates and because he's got an
Mm-hmm.
eidetic memory and can remember all these things and that's why he's a threat to Thorn. So I feel like it's in line with everything else where they're giving a fresh, 1940s take on it. Um, and at this point, it's like we've seen so many different variations of the character instead of doing the same old thing, they're gonna
Yeah. I mean,
make it
these
for their own, just like all the other shows have done.
Batman has been around for almost 90 years.
Yeah.
Think about that. We're getting to Batman 90 here soon.
Whew.
This is going to evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to evolve. So I'm not as just uptight about when they do changes like this. The Calendar Man thing, the way they do it here, almost feels like something like a Reeves influence. Kind of the same with how he did the Riddler. How would you take Calendar Man and put it in a epic crime saga? Well, I think the setup is he's an accountant with a
Yeah.
photographic memory. It can remember dates and numbers and all this, and it works.
And because he's so quirky about it, it's not like he's picking
Yeah,
the name for himself. It's like people are making fun of him kind of
it's
for
a
being so
mocking
weird
name.
and
Yeah.
calling him that. Yeah.
Um,
No, I
and
liked it.
with
I
yeah,
I thought it was
yeah.
fun.
What about Barbara and pushing Batman? I kind of like that. I get why Batman goes to her. He feels that Gordon's too restricted in his role as police commissioner to do things that really needs to be done, but he may not be able to do and give him information, but she can. And she's kind of like, well, hold on, you haven't met and
Hold
talked
on.
to, hold on, yeah, you haven't met and talked to my father yet, so you're not, you don't know.
I had forgotten that she what her role was in the show, to be honest, because
Yeah,
it's been 2 years.
yeah,
And for some reason I was thinking she was an officer.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh wait, no, she's like the ADA.
yes,
And like it's an interesting like I'm enjoying the dynamic of her wanting to help Batman, but at the same time, like she doesn't want to get her hands are kind of tied because of her public office.
yeah,
So it makes sense for her to try and keep herself clean to push, Batman off on her father, and not be the middleman,
yes,
between
yeah.
what's going on.
And there, and
So
wouldn't you think there's a bit of, hey, you haven't talked to him yet, so you don't know if you can work together or not. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Um, I found it a little, say, jarring, but I was like, that he's back. The Batman is back to referring to Alfred as Pennyworth.
yes. I was going to point that out. I was
Yeah,
a little disappointed by that, to be honest,
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah,
because that felt like that was the whole, not the whole, but like that was a big point of that first season arc was
yeah,
him becoming more natural and welcoming with Alfred in their relationship, and that it was going to be less, rich person and servant and more father son kind of thing. So the first time he called him Pennyworth in the Batcave, I was like, oh, I guess we're
we're back to square
reverting
one.
back to type. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of like when they're in the Batcave discussing what's going on, and Batman decides to leave and go check out one location or whatever, and Alfred is like, "Well, do you want me to go check out the other location?" And he was like, "No, I'm taking your advice. I'm going to end up meeting with
With
Barbara
Barbara.
Gordon." So
Yeah.
there seems to be a little bit of more collaboration But yeah, I'm with you. I was kind of disappointed by the Pennyworth thing. Thought that we got past that with season one. So that was a negative, to be honest with me. With me, of course, I haven't seen nothing but episode one, so I don't know how this progresses.
Yeah.
They can't continue to. I mean, it's got to progress from that, right?
I would think so, or at least be more interchangeable on how he
Yeah,
talks to him.
yeah. So there's a hit on Gregory, of course, put out by Rupert Thorne. We meet Bullock, who's been demoted to
Busted.
a beat cop. Yeah,
Yeah.
and of course, his cohort there and the Gotham City Police Department, Flass, he's still a detective, and I really like this little thing of like Gordon knows that Montoya is on the up and up, so he partners her with Flass,
Yeah.
and makes sure to say you're in, she's in charge, you know, and Flash still has some arrogance with about him when it comes to like, yeah, I'm on the take, I'm on the take, I'm in the, everyone should be on the take because that's just the way it is. Thoughts about all that?
I think it's not only just the arrogance of his corruption, but just the fact that, you know, Montoya's a woman in this predominantly,
Mm-hmm.
man's field.
Yeah.
So knowing that she's, kind of like a goody goody and a woman just kind of gives him that entitlement um to just do what he wants. Like we see when the Monster Man attacks the Calendar Man and Batman shows up, he's not interested in protecting Calendar Man or trying to defeat this 10-foot monster in front of him. He's just trying to shoot Batman and, doesn't pay Montoya any attention when she's like, what are you doing? Um, so I liked that he's still, doing his own thing. Uh, and he has no loyalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when Bullock tries to go into the thing and they're like, sorry, this is for detectives only,
Yeah.
officer,
Yeah.
because he's in a uniform now. Like there was no sympathy from Flass towards
No.
Bullock, his former partner. You know,
Flash
he's
is
just shoving it in his face that
he's
he's
a
superior.
really he's an unlikable character, which is
Yeah,
a good thing to have,
that's how he's
a
supposed to be.
character in here that how you supposed to be. Gregory arrives via plane. Of course, Enigma and his men arrive. This is where there's just a bunch of shooting and the cackling that we mentioned earlier from Eddie Enigma.
Like he's
Batman
riddling people
arrives.
with bullets,
Yes, I,
even his own men.
I'm
So
thinking here. I was going to bring that up. If it's if that's what they go with, why he's the Riddler, this entire series or entire season, he's the Riddler because he riddles people with bullets, and there's no traditional like actual riddles from this version of the character. I'm not sure how I'm going to 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 think. Where would you what's your thoughts on that?
I see where you're coming from.
Because
Um,
I can be hypocritical and say, hey, these characters need to grow, and there can
yeah,
be off takes, but it's like, but the core element should be there, like we saw with the Riddler and the Batman, Matt Reeves, the Batman.
right.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to watch the entire series before I make final judgment, but that's something I'm looking forward to see where it goes.
Yeah, at this point, I want to let it slide a little bit and give them that. Well, they're
Yeah,
going for like a 1940s
yeah,
gangster approach.
yeah.
Um, so I like that as like his mafia, nickname, like
Mm-hmm.
Eddie the Riddler Enigma. Like I think that's kind of
Yeah.
fun and fits with the time period. But
You could actually, I mean, if it was that kind of thing from the 30s or 40s, that would be not out of the
yeah,
ordinary for that
George
real life
Babyface
and that, yeah,
Nelson,
yeah,
Al
yeah,
Scarface Capone, like that.
yeah.
It feels good for that, but as like a Batman fan, I could see the other side of that coin and be really disappointed that you don't have the riddles and the escape traps and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
matching of wits, because so far we haven't seen any of that intellect that the Riddler is known for. Not yet, at any rate.
Yep.
He's just
Yep.
been a
I'm with
little
you.
erratic.
I'm with
So,
you. Um, this is the part we're getting to the part. It kind of, I was kind of like, I'm surprised at this, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Uh, I'm gonna call him Joey Gallo. Eddie Nigma meets with Professor Hugo Strange, who looks like he's right out of his original
oh yeah.
incarnation in in Batman #1. And
Well,
yeah,
Detective 36.
true. That's correct. Correct.
Detective
Correct. Correct. Correct.
36.
Yeah.
Monster Men are Batman #1.
Yes. Yes. That is correct. Um, but he looks just like that
Oh
very
yeah.
original version of the character, going by Professor Hugo Strange. And he has this concoction, this serum that's green. And first thing I thought was, are they going to work
Like
Venom into
Smilex.
this?
Or
You
oh yeah,
know?
or Venom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, the Monster Men serum is kind of sort of a precursor to Venom in the comics. Not that they were related or they never were a direct line to each other, but they kind of
They
in a
are, yeah, a
different
similar
way.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even snap to the Monster Man thing because I didn't really did see it coming until, the Riddler injects his pal, Dez with the serum and turns it. I said, duh, they're doing
Yeah.
Monster Man. So we get a Monster Man. Um, you see that coming in this out of the blue, or even when you saw Strange in the serum, did you go, oh, they're gonna do Monster Man, or were you
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised? Okay.
No, I was thinking they were going to lean that way. And there was that maybe it was the first trailer where it showed Batman in the airplane firing the guns, which reminded
Mm-hmm.
me of that.
That short,
Yeah, was it 75th anniversary or 80th?
something.
Where they did that. They did two shorts. One was Batman Beyond with
Yeah,
Darwin Cook, and then the other
yeah.
one was a Bruce Timm one where it was like a
With
truncated version of
yeah.
Monster Men and all that.
I've always thought that Bruce Timm short is the precursor to this
Oh yeah.
series. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
But
much
go
like
ahead.
a test
Yeah.
pilot for
Yeah.
that. But yeah, that was the funny thing about the Monster Man is the fact that earlier in the episode, like Riddler was at, the table yelling at his gang, and with the exception of his mall or his girlfriend, like
Yeah.
all those other guys got killed. So at that point, when he injects Dez, like that's the only guy he had left.
Yeah.
Because he had either those guys got, injured in the shootout or Riddler killed him himself. Uh, which that the first time they try and kill him at the airfield, which shout out to there's the Moldoff airfield and the Burnley
Mm-hmm.
County airstrip, which
Yeah.
is Sheldon Moldoff.
Mm-hmm.
He co-created Scarecrow, Mr. Freeze, the second Clayface, Batmite, Batgirl, Batwoman, and Ace the Bat Hound.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Jack Burnley, in addition to doing like he did the first cover uh that paired Superman, Batman, and Robin together for New York World's Fair 1940, which
That's the baseball
became,
one.
yeah, World's Fair Comics #2.
Yeah.
And then he also did a lot of Batman comic strips, Sunday comic strips. So those two names, I was like, oh, and that's not the only time either. I think they make a reference later to Neil Adams in one of the places, but they're at that airfield and just the shootout happens, and one of the guys gets surprised somehow by the propeller, and
Yeah.
it does like a Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you
Yeah.
just see like the blood splatter
Yeah.
against the side of the plane as he gets hit. And
Yeah.
this is not your children's Batman the Animated Series.
No. I
Not at
even
all.
wrote at one point, well, of course, the Monster Man, Dez, is being used as like to assassinate, essentially, go kill the
Yeah.
Squealer, which is Counterman Gregory, who's
Yeah,
in a safe house.
he's like the Incredible Hulk. Like his speech pattern
Yeah.
is very limited.
Yeah. And so then that brings in Batman to thwart this attempt to kill him. Batman ends up battling the Monster Man slash Dez, even getting. I mean, it's street level. It goes down to the streets, and he finally just hits him over and over again with the Batmobile up against a wall
Oh
until
my
he
God.
knocks
Yeah.
him out, and he morphs back into being Dez at that
Yeah.
point. I wrote violent AF on my notes right there.
Did you think that he was just going to keep running into him until he died?
I would say that he was going to run into him until what had to happen had to happen, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
He needed, I don't know if killing him was the goal, but you had to incapacitate him,
I
you
mean,
know?
it had me wondering because, I
Yeah.
mean, that scene went on
Yeah.
really
It was,
long.
I mean, he was rolling, backing up and boom, right back into
Yeah.
it. So, but I wrote violent AF, man,
Yeah.
right there.
I mean, it was at least like 5 or 6 times. I didn't count,
Yeah.
but it made me think of the comic where, when anytime you say Batman doesn't kill, someone always pulls out, well, when Batman fought the Monster Men, he got in the airplane and shot him down with his machine gun.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if we were going to start to go down that path of like, Golden
What's your
Age Batman
interpretation?
killing.
What do you
I
think?
mean, I think he did it until he had him stopped. Um,
Yes. Yeah, that's where I'm
that
at.
was, but by like the third ram, I was like, wait, is he gonna, are they gonna go down this path and have him kill?
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, once he started to shrink, like that's when Batman
Yeah.
backed off and drove
Yeah.
away because the threat was neutralized.
Because we've seen elements so far from season one where he's against killing,
Yeah.
you know? Um, I think that it was like one of those things like, I gotta do what I gotta do here. I can't leave this guy
Yeah, because the
in the
cops
streets of
had already
Gotham.
been
Yeah.
shooting at him, and that
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
stop him. So,
Yeah.
what other choice did he have but to try that?
The Monster Men that's one of those aspects of Batman that that's fantastical that
Yeah.
doesn't it's never really bothered me, and I could even see adapted into live action. I don't know if it would work with Reeves, but um like I think about the Batman and the Monster Man, the I want to say
The Matt
recent, but hell, it's probably Matt
the Matt
Wagner. Matt
Wagner.
Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dark Moon
Sh
Rising. That stuff
Shout
was
out
really
to
done really.
Ryan Lauer and the
Yeah.
Batman Book Club.
Yeah. Had Matt on recently. I was gonna
Yeah.
say, recent and that's like 20 plus years ago, isn't it? When those came out.
It's at least 10. It might be like early 2000s.
I
I don't
think the early
remember off the top of
2000s.
my
I
head.
had Matt Wagner on. I interviewed him, written review, early days of BOF. So like before before Batman Begins.
Oh, wow. So yeah,
Yeah. So
20
yeah,
years then.
yeah. This is how it is when you get older. It's like that was just that was the other
It's like
day. No,
5 years ago.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
like Batman Begins to me is like, well, that was just a few years ago.
I mean, it was only like
Like
5 or 6 years ago. I was
21
scouring
years.
the Congress Street Bridge
Yeah.
looking for the little bat graffiti to unlock a piece of the Dark Knight Rises trailer.
Just when I say, yeah, literally when I say that wasn't long ago, for me, not
Yeah.
long ago could be a quarter of a century. Uh, So we get down to the end here. Gregory testifies, lays it all out. It goes to the judge, and you can tell the judge
Yeah.
has been compromised by Rupert Thorne, right?
Yep.
And dismisses the case. And Rupert
Yeah.
Thorne is set free, Javi.
Yeah. Pete Mitchell, not the best DA. And for a second, I got confused because we had a Mitchell and a Pete in the Batman, but they were
Mm-hmm.
different characters.
Yeah. Yes.
But for a second, I thought it was a Reeves character. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, no, it's just the combination of two Reeves characters'
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
So,
That was another thing. We saw that coming. He owns most of the
yeah.
people in Gotham, right? And I thought the animation there was really good. The way they did his eyes on the judge when the judge is about to render his verdict, and you can see the judge kind of squirms and dismisses the case. And we get to the end here. So, of course, Gordon and all them are disappointed. Um, Thorne is leaving, and here comes the Mad Hatter of news, the gossip Gertie of this universe, the Mad Hatter, and does an interview. She's talking about
How great he is.
how great he is, and so I am interested in seeing how there's got to be more to this character than just the pimping up and hyping up and shilling for Rupert Thorne, especially after what's about to happen to Thorne
Yeah.
once he gets in that limousine.
Yeah. So that limousine, um,
Okay, you describe it. Here you go. Let's talk about that, and you tell everybody what happens here.
well, as the chauffeur opens the door for Thorne, he makes contact with him and gives him a little prick,
Mm-hmm.
which, irritates Thorne, but he just kind of dismisses it. So they get in and they drive off, and Thorne is with his son that we saw last season,
Mm-hmm.
who's like what, a teenager?
Yeah.
And the kid's all, ecstatic because he's like, "You beat him, Dad." He's like, "No, I didn't beat him. Like it wasn't anything I won. It's like, you have to diversify your portfolio. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he owns all these people. So there was nothing to win because he was
Mm-hmm.
already in charge of everything." And as he starts to laugh about that, he just like it just becomes more and more uncontrolled.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that familiar smile, and his son is freaking out. And as the camera pans back, you just see like these bloodshot eyes, in shadow driving, the limo away. And we don't know what happens next, which is like the cool thing.
Let me ask you this: did you interpret it was the Joker in disguise that was the limo driver?
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
because it's Matthew Needham is listed as the
Yes.
chauffeur for that
Yeah.
episode. And then if you click on
He's
his
voicing the
credits,
Joker. Yeah.
it says he's voicing the Joker. I mean,
So
even
let me
without
ask.
looking that up, I think it's
Yeah.
pretty clear what the
Yeah.
implication is.
Once you
So,
saw his eyes in the rearview mirror, it was
yeah,
clear who it was. Now let me ask you this: he clearly had
Thorn
regular
marked.
skin color, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he would have
Okay.
been
Yeah.
seen otherwise.
So is he doing a Jack Nicholson Joker, putting on flesh colored makeup,
I didn't
or
think about that.
when he's the Joker, is it makeup?
I haven't considered that. That's
Well,
a
that's why
cool
I'm bringing it to
idea.
you. So
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that? They make it
Hmm.
ambiguous where you don't know it's either
Yeah,
way.
you really don't. It could go either way at this point. Yeah.
I don't want to, I don't want to know. I want it ambiguous. To me, I love it when the Joker is mysterious and ambiguous and backgroundless, if that's a word, as possible.
Yeah.
And so I don't need to see him falling, a flashback during season 2 of him falling in a vat of acid. I don't, and on the other hand, I don't need to see him doing the Jack Nicholson with with the makeup and, then he's going to make some art darling type, thing where he's trying to disguise himself. But I feel like they're clearly going for that original 1940 Batman #1 Joker.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Even some of the publicity shots. There's that one scene, with him. You can see me, with
his
with
fingers
his
crossed in front of
fingers
his
crossed
face.
in front. Yeah, from that comic book.
I mean, the fan in me would expect it because of the period that it would be, a Red Hood, Ace Chemicals type of origin story. But given how we've seen the Penguin and the Riddler and Mad Hatter, um, it's anyone's guess of what kind of direction they want to take this. He's definitely um, more macabre and more serious
Yeah.
than the off the wall version from like the Batman, the animated show, or Hamill's run the gamut of Joker spectrum, from singing on top of the Christmas tree to, poisoning Tim Drake and brainwashing him to,
I,
so
to, to further along, the the idea of that this era, the Joker, it wasn't until the early 50s the Joker ever got an origin story. The Red Hood and the whole falling in the vat of chemicals thing didn't. He had been a character for 11 years, over a decade, when they
yeah,
finally gave him an origin. And so the original, that original Golden Age version didn't have an explanation. It could have been makeup. It could have been, there
yeah,
was no this, it was just he was the Joker and it's what he looked like, and you know, um, so I would think that it's just going to be something that's never answered and remains a mystery, and it's just the mystery behind the character. But we shall see, because he's going to be in this season
yeah,
throughout, right?
yeah.
Before we get to the very last part, and then we'll grade the episode, give our final thoughts. Do you think the Joker's a slow burn through the
Oh yeah,
rest of this? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because other than, taking out, the head of the mob, and we don't really know how effective, what he did. Did he just, render him incapable, or did he full on kill him? And if he killed him, then what did he do with his son?
Yeah.
So, like, we don't know what his full intentions are yet
Yeah.
by it. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing how they play it out, and I hope we get just, little dollops until it all comes together at the final episode.
All right, Javi. The final scene basically is Barbara has lured both Batman and her father to the top of the roof of the Gotham City Police Department building. There is a spotlight that is faced away from
Away
the
from us,
camera
yeah.
view, away from the audience. And she says, I think, you two need to talk, or you need to, whatever the line was.
Yeah.
And that's it. So is this the beginning of the classic Batman Gordon partnership?
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Is that
As we get
in
things
that they're
established, and
hinting
it,
at, are they hinting at the bat signal with the spotlight?
I mean, what else could they be hinting at?
Yeah. 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 So that's where we end, and then we get in this episode at the end, right after this, a preview, basically, of season 1. Last question, last thoughts. What did you think about here's what's coming on season 2 of Batman Caped Crusader? Anything stand out to you?
Jim Corrigan, back from the dead, uh, presumably the Spectre. So,
Ever tell
granted,
you
you know
Spectre
that
is one of my favorite DC characters?
you have not.
There's I've always I thought like I like Deadman and I like the Spectre. I always thought you could do something television wise, like remember this would be with a Deadman. You remember Quantum Leap?
Yeah. Oh no, that would be like a perfect
Like
example
a
for a show.
DC, a
Yeah.
DC with Deadman, a dark DC series with I'm talking like HBO, like a prestige series with
Yeah.
Deadman a la with a Quantum Leap vibe. And I'd like to see Spectre. That's kind of I like this horror. I like that kind of horror type stuff. And it always like that's why I was always um proponent of the Justice League Dark thing. I thought it was just cool to get those characters, DC characters together. Anyway, and I like Constantine too. So I went
Yeah.
on a
I
tangent there, but
That show
anyway,
ended way too soon.
yeah.
That Constantine
Oh, that
show.
Constantine show was really good.
Yeah.
It was. Okay, so here we are. What's your overall thoughts? And if you got a grade for it, give us
I
a
mean,
grade.
it's a solid A for me. The things that they changed, I'm willing to see where they go with it and to give them some grace and let them tell their story. But I thought it was a strong, welcoming back because you get to reestablish some things with all the characters and their relationships and lay that roadmap for where we're going with this season with the Riddler and the Joker at large and uh, presumably Thorn removed out of the picture. Um, so I think there's far more pluses than minuses. And like we talked about, the only thing that really irked me, and it wasn't even irk is too strong of a word, uh, was the Batman Alfred relationship. How
Hmm.
it seemed more in line with the majority of season one as opposed to where we left them at the end of season one.
Yeah,
Although maybe Batman wasn't quite as condescending as he was in season one to Alfred. But overall, I mean it was a strong start to the season, I think. Especially how they left it with hinting of where things could go between Gordon and Batman.
I'm torn if I want to. I don't know if I want to give it an A or put it in the A category. It's definitely a B plus. It's somewhere in that B plus A minus realm.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a overall very good episode to set up this season. There were some surprises in there that I enjoyed. I'm just not sure what I think about Eddie Enigma, and I'm not sure what I think. I was disappointed by the Pennyworth thing.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't as maybe as condescending as it was previously, and it seems that they had been working together prior, somewhere in between the events of season one and where we find them in season two. So to be determined, I guess. See where all this goes. When I want to give a final grade for the whole season. So that will be something we'll get to when we get to the end.
And the
And
action
that is it.
sequences
Yeah.
were pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The animation looked really good.
Yeah.
So has a nice little like thin layer of grain to kind of make it feel a little bit more like a movie or more period by not being
Are
like
you
this clean,
okay?
polished look.
Yeah. Last one. Oh, because we don't know if we've ever discussed it really. How are you with the voice acting, the people who are voicing overall? I really don't have an issue with
No,
anyone.
I think Linkletter is pretty strong.
I like his Batman. I do.
Yeah. And
I
like,
do.
we don't have any Bruce Wayne really this episode, but
No,
from what we've seen in season one, like he's got that
there was a
smooth,
difference. Yeah.
playboy
Yeah.
voice going on. And no, I think he's doing a good job and everyone else, Gary Anthony Williams brings just the right touch of sleaziness to Flass and yeah, I think it's a pretty solid show.
I like just the little bit we've heard of the Joker.
Yeah,
You
very,
know,
very little. Yeah.
not, I enjoy when we don't get someone doing a version of Mark Hamill or Cesar Romero or even Jack Nicholson. And in some cases, I've even heard nowadays that since it's been 15 years plus, a little bit on the Heath Ledger vibe. This was just seemed something fresh when it comes to the Joker character. So we'll see when we get more Joker. All right. There you have it for episode 1 of season 2, Brute Force, Batman Caped Crusader. Announcer Rachel will take us out. She's coming in here right now.
Oh, hey, Rachel.
She does these live every time. I will say the Batman Part 2 in production, so it'll be ramping up as we progress, and so you can find everything on Batman on Film, and then we'll be talking about it on social hours and whatnot. All right, here she comes in now. Announcer Rachel will take us out finally. We will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to Batmanimation, a BatmanOnFilm.com podcast revisiting the animated TV and film adventures of the Caped Crusader. Follow Jett on Twitter at BatmanOnFilm. For Jett and Team BOF, I'm Announcer Rachel. Batman on Film, authoritative, definitive, the original, established in 1998.
Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.